Welcome back, everybody. I'm here to tell you the story of There's a Mirror in the Woods, but it doesn't reflect you. This one comes from my subscriber, Adam Ellis. They were hiking off-trail and exploring the dense greenery when they realized they were hopelessly lost. If you're walking in the forest and you find a mirror standing between the trees, don't look into it because it doesn't show your reflection. It shows something else, and once it sees you, he won't forget your face. It'll be fine. We just gotta go over this ridge, and then we'll find the trail. Our story begins in the Pacific Northwest. 18-year-old Carter was camping out in the woods with his cousin Jason. Dude, said Jason, I think we should head back. We don't know where we are. Yeah, whatever, Carter replied, shoving aside a hanging vine. The boys continued onward until Jason stopped dead in his tracks. Wait, did you see that? He asked. Standing upright against the trunk of an ancient cedar was a full-length mirror, about 7 feet tall, encased in a wooden frame. It wasn't leaning against the tree or propped up by anything. It just stood straight up with its back flat against the bark. There was no dirt or mud at the base of the glass. It was as though the mirror had been planted there in the middle of the forest and left for whoever stumbled upon it. I don't think it's gonna find us if we keep walking. Carter hesitated only a moment longer before turning and running after his cousin. The mirror was almost upon him, towering above him and distorting his frightened face. Over there, Jason whispered, pointing ahead. Carter could hear Jason fall and scramble back to his feet. He turned and fled in the opposite direction, stumbling blindly, crashing through the underbrush. Gasping for breath, he dared not look back, but he knew by the sound of crunching gravel that the mirror was still pursuing him. Then just as suddenly as it had started, the pursuit ended. Thorns ripped at his skin and leaves and twigs whipped against his face. But he didn't care. He couldn't care. He just wanted to escape the sound of shattering glass and the feeling of unseen eyes boring into his back. You probably need to stay on marked trails, son. These woods can play tricks on your mind. Then the sound of heavy footsteps echoed around them. Footsteps that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. And within those cracks, Carter saw the beginnings of a face. Pale, ghastly eyes staring blindly ahead. Many of the mirrors appeared to be old ornate pieces reclaimed by nature and covered in moss. But occasionally a new one would appear. Carter's eyes widened. He knew exactly where it had been placed, appearing to be placed there intentionally as though waiting for someone to stumble upon it and peer inside. A gaping mouth with razor-sharp teeth, dripping saliva. But the image burned itself into his mind, and the next night he couldn't sleep. He pulled out his phone and typed a comment, hoping the photographer might respond and tell him the truth. The account had thousands of followers. Clearly, a photography blog with a healthy dose of cryptozoology thrown in for good measure. About 30 yards through the trees, Carter saw something that made him feel cold. Sometimes it shows this terrified guy screaming in the woods. No one knows who he is. Is this Narnia or something? Jason joked, taking a step toward the mirror. Yo, it's not reflecting me. As he approached the edge of the forest, his heart pounded. What if the mirror was still there? He didn't want to repeat the mistakes of his earlier visit. What if it hadn't moved on to collect its next victim? That's not funny, Carter said. But it was true. Jason had no reflection. He owed it to his cousin to try and find him. Panic rising in his chest, Jason threw his hands up and ran back toward the trail, tripping over exposed tree roots and pushing aside branches that tore at his clothes. There was nothing behind him but the same trees and the growing darkness. In his place was a black forest and a tall, pale figure slowly walking toward the glass. They turned around. Then he saw it. A flash of white standing between the trunks of 2 trees. Only then did he allow himself to finally look back. But there was nothing there. No mirror. No Jason. He wanted to run, but he couldn't let Jason down. He recoiled, startled, and stepped back. It was smaller than he remembered. No, taller than his waist. Yet somehow, it still radiated the same icy chill. When he told his parents what had happened, they simply shook their heads and smiled sadly. Only his own panicked breath and the rustling of the wind through the trees. It had 100K likes. He scrolled through the comments, hoping to find the photographer. Maybe he could warn him. But why does it only show him in the mirror? He isn't stuck in the mirror. The mirror is stuck in him. He burst out of the trees and onto the road, racing toward his car. Nothing was there. Looked back at the mirror. The figure was closer. Behind his image in the mirror, the pale figure was still smiling and getting closer. Maybe we should leave, Jason suggested, edging backward. But the mirror started moving too, taking a step forward. Jason, wait, Carter called after him. He could hear Jason shout back, but the sounds of the forest swallowed his words. As they fled, the mirror seemed to rise up, becoming taller and larger, blocking their way and warping their vision. Carter slammed into a thick log and fell hard onto the forest floor. Scrambling to his feet, he looked back. Crack. The glass shattered, but it remained whole. Cracks spider-webbed across the surface. The whispers began. "You looked. Now we see you. We know your shape. You belong to the glass now." Terrified, Carter didn't even bother trying to run again. At last, he burst out of the trees and onto a wide dirt road. He didn't stop running, though, not until he reached his car and slammed the door behind him. Carter drove home in silence, never glancing back at the forest. It was probably just a hallucination brought on by dehydration. His mother said, "You've always been a bit imaginative, honey." His father nodded, so Carter figured they were right. He chalked it up to being lost and thirsty, and went on with his life. 2 weeks passed without incident. Then one afternoon, Carter was scrolling through Reddit when he came across a viral thread featuring photos and stories of strange mirrors found in the woods. One particular photo caught Carter's attention. It was newer, showing a full-length mirror with a wooden frame and a background of dense green foliage. In the corner of the photo, barely visible underneath the glass, was a caption that read, "This mirror in Oregon doesn't reflect people." Carter clicked on the post and read the comment. It had over 100K likes. He clicked on the user who posted it. Carter liked the post and moved on, trying to shake off the unease that had settled in his stomach. What happened to the other guy? Did he get help? But the reply he received was not from the photographer. He didn't get help. He became part of the collection. Carter stared at the screen. Who was this? What collection? Had Jason been taken? Was he in danger? He needed to go back. But as dawn broke and Carter prepared to leave, a new comment had appeared. "Don't look for him. It will take you next." Carter shuddered. He put his phone down, unable to bring himself to read any more. He knew what he had to do. He took the long way around to the woods, keeping to the main roads and well-trodden paths. Pushing his fear aside, he parked his car and began walking into the trees, keeping to the path. And all the while, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. From behind, Carter heard a snapping twig and whirled around to find nothing. He called out, his voice shaking. "Is anyone there?" Only silence answered him. He took a deep breath and forced himself to move forward. But every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig sent shivers down his spine. As he drew closer, he recognized it. The mirror. Carter hesitated, fear warring with his determination to help Jason. Reaching out, he touched the glass. It was cold, unnaturally, sort of like touching a block of ice. The mirror showed Carter standing before it, except it wasn't his reflection that stared back at him. It was the pale figure from his nightmare. But that wasn't the worst of it. Behind Carter, Jason's shoes lay abandoned in the dirt, lying side by side like a discarded pair of socks. Carter screamed and ran, not bothering to look back this time. And as he sped away, he could have sworn he heard the sound of splintering wood and the echo of his own scream fading away behind him. But maybe he imagined that too. 2 weeks later, the photo of the mirror and the caption detailing the missing hiker with a terrified expression racked up thousands of views on Reddit. Many of them new viewers who had stumbled onto the thread by chance. Carter saw the post, but the replies only confirmed his suspicions. "This is terrifying. Please tell me he got away. I hope whoever he is gets rescued soon." Carter's blood ran cold. He looked down at his phone. The room suddenly seemed to quiet. Then he noticed something. In the photo, he wasn't alone. Did you see it? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more scary stories. I'll see you next time.